My name is Sharka. People call me Sharks, but it's really nice. I also knew by Grace, second grade today, and it was live. So, in my free time, I like to beat people with the swords. I spend free time, I have some mostly bug bounties. Lots of CDS, as Heidi was talking about today. I used to do music, so this was my last gig, and even on the museum music stage, I'm still in fact looking at the laptop screen. That's me. But my hacking took over my life, so that's and then I'm on community. So I'm board was Manchester. I'm on the server for BSides Athens. I'm co-founder of DevCon Group in Paris. And lately I created InfoSec Hoppers. I'm not sure if anyone knows who's Grace Hopper. She's like a pioneer, like a computer pioneer. So this is group for women that don't feel completely comfortable maybe going to conferences or just need some help. So that's what I'm doing in my free time, at my work. I work here. It was a company that gave me a chance to do what I promised them. I told them I will be great. Please let me do social engineering and physical. I'm gonna rock it. So my boss told me a week before I was starting work. It was like, what would you say? Your first ever engagement, your first ever test. You have 2 days and 3 offices to break. I'm like, sure. That day, I got into server room and stole or exfiltrated a laptop and some certificate. So I proved it right. I did a social engineering CTF for La New App, which is a hack conference in Paris. And our team was called Facepalm, because we're little facepalm people. And my colleague from the team, Yui, she said that I remind her of Cheshire Cat. She said you're social, malicious, and empathic, which she was kind of right. So now about Grace O'Malley. She is a pirate queen from Ireland, from 16th century, and she was super kick-ass. She cut her hair because her dad didn't want to take her with him on the boat, so she cut her hair and social engineered her way on the boat. But lately, afterwards, she was known to just kill people and stuff. She even met Queen of England, but I think it was too late anymore. So, about the Grace O'Malley of the 21st century. She's a social engineer. She does stuff like this, has fake IDs. This was one of my clients. They had it on SharePoint, and he said, just to let you know, I didn't give them your real name in case they will go after you because you hacked their whole network. This is me getting into another network. Hacking some payment systems. This is me pretending to be there was building management engineer trying to the building management engineer was there to fix a router. This was office stuff. This was trying to get into a data center. And recently I've been trying to test a few things like UV powder. So it's a powder that you can, normally if you put it on your finger anywhere, you can't see anything. But with the UV light, it gets like this. So I was trying to use it with the pin pads. So if I will brush it over the pin pads, I could see either or the fingerprints that are there, or I could just brush it and then go later and see those that were touched. So I can long story short, it didn't work because the pigments were not suitable, and I forgot brush to use with the powder, so I used my makeup brush, and I look like this. So yeah, it's a trial and error, but I actually used it in the engagement this week. I used it with a marker, and that was a success. I made it to assistant speaker go. So, what is social engineering originally? We know it as hacking people or manipulating with people, but originally there was a good idea about, well, we have normal engineers that are taking care of all the missions and making it live longer and be better. Why not have social engineers that will be taking care of people? Good idea, right? That turned into a really bad idea. There was lots of research done, and it turned into mass manipulation, pretty much. If you look around you these days, you can see it everywhere. Just open your eyes. But this might remind you what it looks like these days. Just gathering data and then manipulating. So, as we know it, us people in this room, what do you think social engineering? Some people think it's full. Look at me now, there's not really mind control. I see people that, I met people that were scared by last client when they were going for lunch. I had to leave with them. They wouldn't let me, even though they already know what I'm doing, and then I'm doing another part of the test, they wouldn't let me stay in office. Why? Maybe. It's routines, right? Headache. Well, it's more like lots of Googling, gathering gossip, studying people's facial expressions, and analyzing everyone's body language. So you might see me later or somewhere else. I usually am just in a corner, and I'm looking at people, what they're doing. My favorite thing is if I go to a restaurant, I'm trying to look at other people. So when I see a couple on a date, I pretty much know how So it's more than that. So I see it as you can't see anything, but so the pre-phase, the first phase of social engineering engagement, there is so Multigo and Buscador are tools. Google tools, so lots of Googling, gathering of sync for my pretext that I can use later. You also have all your phishing, all the phishing. But that's all more remote part. You can still do this from, from your seat at home. Well, I work from home. If you work from work, it's your bad. Second phase, I call it the action phase. It's when you actually come into contact with your target. And third phase, I call it get GA and get out. So, the domain admin. Domain admin is, they are the keys to the kingdom. But I don't think it's not only about getting domain admin. You have to think about your target. What is it? What are the crown jewels? What is it that you're after? Maybe it's some document, so I should do my OSINT and know when they are storing their documents, or it's a financial company, so I will look for the financial data. I will try to steal something that they really want. So focusing on doing admin, I think it's not really important. But let's focus on the action phase. So that's actually do your job. So before you start thinking, at least like you. What I mean is stop thinking like you, think like assuming, because then it makes you not really analyzing the situation. I see it as running different virtual machine. So my main hypervisor day to day is sort of just the basic stuff. Then in my normal life, I'm running one Sharka virtual machine. So this is how I behave. I love animals, but not everyone does. Recently, I was going back to my apartment, and a guy was standing out. He was like just wearing socks and had a little puppy. He's like, I'm really sorry, I just like forgot where I am, like with her, you know, it's like completely puppy. Can you just please, we have like a little fox to get him inside. I was like, oh my god, it's so cute, that thing. And I realized, oh my god, everything that I teach you, and I just completely forgot just seeing the little puppy. So that's Sharka. Race, that's when I'm going on a job, so I'm running more race VM and the Sharka VM is shut down. Sim, my Sim tool is running all the time during my engagements. I need to analyze all the data that I'm seeing to understand the situation where I am. Or I can, these days, could be a new virtual machine, so that it could be a different person that I need to basically lost in there. But my point is, don't be you, don't think like you. Just gather knowledge, and from the knowledge that you have, analyze and then use it. So, who can be our target? I mean, this would be really nice, but this is, I haven't been there yet. More like been there once. But usually our security guards are just very nice and very helpful. Other targets are usually office staff that are usually super busy. So when you find a vacant place and you ask if you can sit down there, sure, no one really cares. But sometimes, so this was a job that I did back in last year, a couple months back. No target at all. The guy just left their computer. And if you look closely, this is a badge. So I do what I do. I stole it, and I'm running through. There are physical barriers, so I swipe in, I go out there, and I'm really happy that I have the badge because the lifts are RFID enabled, so I need to swipe at the guard. I get in the lift, and I look at the guard, and it's not my client. I had to run back and put it back before the non-existence guy reverts. So, what our targets have in common? They are people, they are humans. What do all humans have? Brain. So let's talk about the brain and psychological activity. So what does it mean when reality is objective, but the perception of the reality is subjective? Think about it in a way that there is one reality right now here, but each of you have a different perception of the reality. Is the perception that it's like a lens. And if I understand those lenses, I can change your reality. Or my targets, of course. What it means when I walked in this Monday, I was on an engagement. I walked into the office, and there was a reception lady. There is one reality, but if you take the lens of the reception lady, she just sees this very smart-looking young Colombian lady that is like, oh my god, they didn't let you know from the headquarters that I'm coming, like it's my first week and I'm really sorry. Can you please visit the badge? So her lens are different, and then I use other mechanisms and other stuff that I'm using to make her believe or manipulate her into the value. But the point is, there is one reality. The perception are the lens that are different that I can manipulate in humans. So how to do this? it's about activating schema. So it's about associations, which I will talk about, the things Pavlov's reflex or effect. Very good right symbols. What it means, it's like in your brain, it's like a little node. It's like the schema as you're seeing here. And what I'm doing, I'm connecting the nodes in a way that's favorable for me. So it could be using words like help, or you haven't, or nice. So it's making that person into that schema that's helpful and nice and positive. So they're more likely to give me what I want. Also anchoring. So that's another principle where you give them an anchor that they can orient themselves towards. So it could be, I could say, oh, they didn't let you know, and then I'm coming, that would mean that either you're gonna give me, that's not what I'm telling her, but the point is to tell her, either you're gonna give me the badge, and there will be less work, or we will have to call all these managers, and there will be all this kind of work to do. So there's a lot of work versus not very much work. So that's the anchoring. Guess where the person usually would go. You're in a face technique, so that's you don't want to help me? Well, yeah, I'm gonna now call the CEO they're reporting to, and people are going to be in lots of trouble with this. Ego effect, the Cheshire hat, is just putting their attention to something that you want whilst you're doing some other stuff. So that would be, could you please get me a cup of coffee, and I'll just sit here, go see something. But please remember that this is psychology and it's research. But the research is just done with lots of people, but still it's an average. So the results of the research are the average on what they were researching. So that means it won't work on all the people. So always have a backup, always have a plan B and C. Talking about the expectations, the Pavlov reflex. So it's things that we learned in life, but these are associations that we have. It's the semantic network of the concept. So, blonde girl probably doesn't know how to computer, right? Yes, sure, if that suits me. So, in order to use these this psychology research, I am also using body language. So, to explain a little bit, we have 3 different brains. So the first reptilian brain, that was the one where we were chasing mammoths and we were chased by mammoths, and it was we needed to decide what to do really. The limbic brain is the brain that does the decision so would it be like, should you run or should you kill the animal, whatever. Neocortex, that's the new brain, that's the thinking and live one. So what I'm really focusing on is the limbic brain, because these are the reactions to what is really happening in your brain. Because the neocortex then thinks and lives. And when we are talking about the limbic responses, you probably all know fight, flight. There is a new one, I think from 2002, that was at it. That's right. So, what's the third one? Does anyone know?
Standing still.
Exactly. Freeze. So that was the third one that was added as a reaction. So these are the basic sort of reactions of the limbic brain. So either you decide you're big enough to take on the mammoth, or you're not. You should be running away. But if you think about maybe like lions and gazelles, when they're chasing the gazelles, sometimes they like that to freeze. So that's a mechanism as well. What I'm looking for are something called pacifying behaviors. So these are when someone is not in a calm state, when they are stressed or scared, they are I'm looking for these behaviors. So it could be a man, what they do lots of times, they're just touching their neck, they're soothing themselves. They're trying to calm down the blood flow. Women, what they would do, they touch their nostril notch here, or when they have some sort of jewelry, they would play with the jewelry. And it was really funny. It was a test where I went. I made the receptionist believe in grace, and she gave me actually all access visitor cards, so I was actually going in and out, exfiltrating a couple of those sensitive documents and stuff. And then I called the point of contact in office, and we were walking into the office together, and we met the receptionist, and she's like, "Oh, you met Grace? Oh, that's great. I'm really glad that you two met, because I know that she's been here." And I was looking at him if he's going to tell her, because I felt really bad for her. But it's not my place. He's the client, right? So then we did physical walkthrough. So I look for stuff like CCTV to tell them that there's perhaps not the coverage is not great. And we were like walking by and talking all these people that I manipulated just maybe like 2 hours ago, and he was not saying anything. And when we got to the reception again, there was this lady, and I'm like, you should tell her, because like, for me the target is not to make people feel bad, but to show that something happened and that we can change it. So if he's gonna be not nice to her, she's not gonna remember it as a good experience and not gonna use it in the future. So it was like, well, we should probably tell you. So this is she's like, yeah, Grace. And he was like, no, her name is Sharka. And she has this like a necklace, and she's like, really? I was just touching. I'm like, oh my god, poor soul. What I'm looking for as well. So these are the pacifying behaviors. Are more when someone is not feeling great, when they are stressed or scared. So that for me means that the person probably doesn't believe me. So I can then change my ways or techniques that I'm using. What I'm also looking for is the other way around. So mirroring behaviors. When you see it sometimes, what it means is it's a feeling of trust or someone likes you. So I do it often where I'll try just to fix my glasses and lots of my targets without actually knowing and without actually having glasses. They just touch here as well. And that's for me a sign that they trust me. So when I'm looking at my targets, where do you think that I look first? What is the most honest part of your body? Eyes.
Feet.
Hands.
Face.
Okay, you got to remember the whole body. So, it's feet, and actually from feet up, you're losing honesty. So, your eyes and your face is the most lying part of your body. Because think about it, it's about conditioning. When you're growing up and your mom tells you, don't look like this, don't make that face, don't, or now when you're seeing somebody you like, you're thinking about your face, don't blush, don't like look normal. So you think about your face a lot. Hands is the same thing, so you know when you're going for an interview that you're not meant to press your hands because the current process is not favorable for you. So what would you say if you would be talking to someone and the person has crossed legs across you when you're talking to them? Do they like you? How do they feel, good or bad? Bad.
Kind of stressed.
Stressed? Oh. Do you remember the fight, flight, or freeze? When someone is in this position, they are not ready to fight, flight, or freeze. That means that they are very comfortable. But if you cross your hands, that's when they are stressed because they are covering their organs, the main part of their body. I use it. I was So some of the clients, they take the testing as sort of like a game where they're trying to win. So what they sometimes do, they let the office know that we're coming, which no one can fool me. I will know because I can read your body language and your facial expressions. So what happened a couple of weeks ago was in an office where I came in with my pretext. I said my pretext, and the guy, I could see that he was not surprised. That was first thing, and I was talking to him like this. And he was here, and his feet was pretty much just talking to me like this, and he was just like ready to go like in the office. And when he stopped talking to me to like take my documents and everything, the fake documents, he actually there was a wedge in the door. He took the wedge out and he closed the door because he knew I was coming and he was scared of me, so he just didn't want to talk to me. So. Yeah, I don't know if you know that I was coming. So, but talking about these things, you have to look for the behaviors, the clusters of behaviors. Like just seeing one where maybe someone looks like he's nervous and tapping with his hands. It could be a medical condition, or it could be the other way around. You need to look for the baseline of the person. Do you see that that person is tapping with their hand all the time? That means that it's their normal state. Look for when they stop tapping with the hand. That's when they are not in a comfortable state. So, face micro-expressions. They occur at about 1/25 of a second, so it's very, very short, but it's like a data link of your face. The true feeling. So, they are universal. They've seen them on the tribes that never seen any other humans. They came there and the facial expressions were the same. You probably recognize all of them. There are great horses. Did you guys see Light Me? Did you show? Yeah, Rockstar Cooper, of course. I really recommend it if you want to get into social engineering. It's a great, great show. It's based on Paul Ekman, who's a scientist, and it's a lot about, they actually talk about different facial expressions in the TV show, and then they show you like politicians around the world making that face expressions, which lets you understand and learn. But Paul Ekman himself is doing great courses with So, how to set my targets, attitude and behavior, so how to make them behave that I want them to behave. So, people need to maintain constant attitude and behaviors. What does that mean? That means when I come and there is a lady at the reception and I tell her how nice she is and how she's helpful and that I'm in a new company, and so she feels good. She's a nice, helpful person. But it also sets her up because she doesn't want to become the bad person not to give you the guest pass, right? So we need it. That's proven as a thing. You probably know the same about you. You are a certain way, and you know people see you a certain way. You need to maintain how people really see you. Cognitive dissonance is really interesting. So that's when your body language and your internal feelings are out of sync, let's say, and you then feel compelled to actually follow your body language. So what that means for me, that I'm usually doing like when I come to the reception again. These are usually my targets. I would look down on the table and then I would look at her up. So what she does, she just looks down and up, which means nodding, which means yes, which means positive. It already sets her up to how I want her to behave. How does the attitude of being positive towards your request just by asking? I'm not sure if it's the same here, but in England, when you ask how you're doing, no one's going to tell you, oh, it sucks, I had a really bad day. So, oh yeah, it's alright. So they are alright, they are feeling good. Just by asking them how you are, they usually tell you that they are doing well. So they already set them up for positive attitude. So, social rejection and pain share the same neural circuitry. It's so painful to be socially rejected or socially rejected by someone as a physical pain. So we could come back to the person trying to maintain their appearance. So they don't want to be rejected. That person don't want to be rejected as you're not helpful to me because I already said that you're helpful. Norm of reciprocity, so it's one of the most powerful norms. So when someone does a favor for us, we feel compelled to return the favor. So it's as easy as I could come to the reception with my target, and when she tries to sign in my name and everything, I give her my band. I did something for her, so he feels like they need something to do in return for me. Or it could be just, I do that a lot, I'm just standing by the doors. When someone is going back, I just open the door. And then if you're really nice and chatty, you just keep chatting and tailgate with them. Motivation through limitation, it's called psychological reactance. That means putting a pressure on your time. Again, it could be when we were talking about, yeah, if you're not going to give me the badge, I will have to call my manager who's a CEO. And people usually feel pushed to do maybe not controversial necessarily. Implicit egotism. Even though people don't like to say it, or make others know, it's a self-centeredness. Everyone likes themselves a little bit. So when there's someone else who likes you, you like it as well. So I don't think that depends on the pretext that I'm doing, but I find that the best pretexts are to do when you just genuinely and overly nice. Incidental similarity. So build a rapport with your target, with that person, and it could be very quick. I have, for example, a fake vape. So I don't smoke or vape, but I have a fake one because it's a great place to go where people are smoking. You just join the conversation. And what happened to me last year, it was illegal back then in the UK. But since I'm not smoking, I forgot to charge my vape. And I was just heading towards the smoking place. I was already there, so I couldn't really turn around. It was weird. And I arrived there, everyone's looking at me, I'm looking at them, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so cold, it's not working. And the lady next to me just took out a pack of cigarettes. She's like, there you go, honey. I smoked after 15 years for work. But us and we, it could be saying that I have a same top at home. And like people say that I look bad in it, but you can wear it. So again, being nice to people, make them go into their implicit egoism or liking themselves. So, BC, it's a repeated exposure. I've seen talks where people are saying, yeah, get into the office and go do so and hide. I don't think that works. The best thing, I mean, they'll look like Mr. Bean, not to that point, but just be seen, walk around the office. So, it could be only as simple as go ask time someone. Because others see you talking to that person, and it already means that you're somehow in the part of the office. So process influencing, you need to decide or see how the person is processing information. Is it reception stuff? I will probably not use any IT lingo because they won't understand. But if I'm pretending to be a building management engineer coming here to replace a router, I will probably use more archaeological, again, to manipulate people to think that I am not. Gradual changes. So when changes occur in like a small instances, it's usually not seen. I'm not sure if you're old enough here to remember slow glories. So there was a virus that was like gradually using more and more CPU of the machine that it infected to the point of crashing them. So I could do this, I could walk around the office and I could slowly become someone else. Because if it's in a small doses, it will work. So systematic versus heuristic processing. So that's how you're processing information. So systematic is we're talking a person first week at work. Like really into detail, they're really into everything. Heuristic processing, that's more, yeah, I see a little bit here, a little bit that, I understand. So what I need to do, I need to put people in the heuristic processing, where they're not paying too much attention to the detail. So that could be me using the IT lingo on the reception stuff, because they don't understand that much. So it will push them towards the heuristic processing. So most powerful form of incentive is a reward to social incentive. That's just being nice, and people are more likely to help you. So, I wanted to talk about a couple things that I'm researching right now. We don't have enough time. We'll make it into talks. So, face reading in Chinese medicine. It seems quite weird. But if you think about it, it comes from Taoist practices that are thousands of years old. The Chinese doctors, they used to use these figurines for women to point where they have issues, because they didn't want, it was not appropriate to touch them. So what did they need to do? They need to learn a lot about just looking at people. And I believe there is a practice of observing an external appearance in order to identify their true nature and destiny. Yeah, they took it a little bit step too far, but like about destiny. But they really put a lot into researching how just looking at people and understanding who they are, what they're doing, what might be wrong with them. For me, I use it in the face reading. So, like maybe your wrinkles will tell me who you are, or who my target is, and that's apparently here. If you're a person that's smiling about you, or someone positive, you will have wrinkles in a certain way. Same as a person who's maybe a little skeptical. So when I'm approaching that person, if it's a skeptical person, maybe a little negative, if I will be like upbeat and really positive, that probably won't go well. But if I will approach them and like, what I say, this sucks, right? I'm more likely to succeed. So this is for example, how the wrinkles look like. Again, it's a research, it's not, don't forget, it's not 100%, and not everyone is the same. You never forget, don't apply your own assumptions. Memory hacker, that's another research that I'm doing right now. How do you remember things? Do you remember the part with the one reality and with the lens? It works the same with your memory. It's your memory are just lens. So if I can alter your lens of memory, I can implant false memories. And it was proven because your brain looks pretty much like an autotune. It's if you're trying to remember what you ate this morning, you will likely think about things that you likely eat. So, and that's how it works with your memories. You're just autofilling. Your brain cannot take all the information that's being bombarded with all the time. So it's more like impressions. So these are your lens that I can then alter, and it was proven. I'm right now working on more like a, let's see, proof of concept but it's possible. That's all I can tell you. You can talk to me about it. So, if you want to be like me, those offensive guys here, please don't break anywhere without the get out of jail free cards, without authentication. You have to have authentication, authorization. But you can start with what really helped me was building Grace. So Grace was my alter ego, and it helps you to step into someone else's shoes, try to disassociate yourself with yourself. And that's where it starts. When someone asks you your name, I just gave them Grace's name. Reach out to other social engineers. Say hi, hide and seek on Twitter, and helped me a lot. It's just amazing. You can, of course, reach me. Read people, as I was saying, like just go into bars and look at people, what they're doing, how they're, what they're doing when they're hands and feet. It's going to tell you a lot. I haven't had time to go into town here, but I heard there are also people that are really good social engineers, and the social engineer, if you like stuff for services. Like to see. I really love there are on YouTube, there are blind date shows. So people get blindfolded, sit in front of each other, and then they take off the blindfolds. And that's the second where you look at their faces. It's great for facial expressions. Because towards the end of the show, they will actually say the first time that they saw the other person, what is it that they were thinking. It's going to help you understand the facial expressions if someone is favorable or not to you. These are the books that I've been researching and the materials from. As I said, Paul does great micro-expression courses on his site. So, the other guys, the defensive guys, so I will of course tell you also a little bit about what to do to protect yourselves and your company against pirates like me. So get tested. You need to understand your threat landscape. You need to understand where are you weak points, where is that you should apply maybe more security. Based on the test results, you can have tailored campaign to deal with those vulnerabilities. Because why run something general when you know where are your vulnerabilities? Awareness sessions. We heard it from Dennis, and he's absolutely right. I really don't like to hear when people are saying there is no path for human stupidity. That's so wrong. We can teach our people. It's just giving that time and do the awareness sessions. So it's a good cybersecurity practice. I really like when I'm running awareness sessions for my clients. I like to start at home. Think about how to protect your family. What are the cybersecurity practices at home that you need to apply to protect them, your family, and you? Because that becomes a reflex that is then translated at work. Empower your employees. Your guys in your company, each one of them, from the cleaner to the CEO, need to feel like they're part of your sacred team. They're empowered to stop anyone if they see anyone in the office there. They do not belong there. They're empowered to raise voice and say, what is it that you're doing here? Because what then happens, I could then pretend to cry or be very desperate, but if that person will then follow the process and taking me to the reception, there is nothing I can do. So, that's it.